That's a machine?
Yeah, it's like a little tripod. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I can rock with that.
Yeah? Sounds good.
Yeah, that's great. So you want to do an introduction or something?
Yes! Yeah, like, what do you do? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
You know me. I'm DJ Scully. What's your name?
Amy, hello. Hi,
Amy.
everyone.
Amy. What was the name of our show? Or your show?
Amy, by the way.
Yeah, Amy, by the way. Add a little sound effect. But I love the question you just asked me. So Amy asked me, what do I think about the music industry? And you asked me who I am. So I'm DJ Scully. I'm a DJ, I'm a producer. Like, I'm just a person that really loves music a lot. And I really enjoy making music, throwing events, and doing everything music. Being a manager, learning the industry. And your question was great. You asked me, what do I think about the industry? And I think the industry is interesting. It's like a lot of moving pieces. It's very intricate. It's like a lot of moving pieces. And I feel like a lot of people look at it as like predatory.
Mm-hmm.
Like artists look at it as predatory, like people use the industry to take advantage of young artists that don't understand business, which is kind of true. But I feel like if you understand the business, you prevent you don't allow people to take advantage of you. You know, I think it's an amazing business. I think it's very interesting, and it's fascinating. It's entertaining. Everyone loves music. You know, everyone loves entertainment. But you know, I hear artists like complain a lot and say that they feel exploited and they feel like they're taking advantage.
Interesting that you mentioned know the industry. What's the real components of knowing the industry?
So I feel like the real components of knowing the industry, in my opinion, I have a business background. So I went to school for general business to understand how to run a business, management. So I feel like understanding the way any business works is intricate to getting into any industry. Like if you want to be an entrepreneur, just understand generally how business works. What sections are in a business. Every business has an accounting department. Every business has a supply chain management. Every business has a marketing department. Every business has HR, customer service. They have insurance. They have licenses. And understand what your industry, what the requirements are, you know, and you know, I feel like that's where you start. You start with general business knowledge. You understand economics. You understand all the moving parts of a business. Mm-hmm. Then you dig deeper. Then you're like, okay, the music industry specifically, because every industry has their own loopholes and specifics and ways to operate. And then also know nothing. Just go off a whim to a certain extent. Like, just kind of try things, think what you think will go well, and then take notes. Like, okay, this went well, this didn't go well. I would do this different. I would do this the same.
Mm-hmm. So you've been to like several different countries to do music, and that's amazing.
Yes, I have, yeah.
So what are some differences you see between countries to countries and continents to continents, states to states?
State to state, country to country. Well, I mean, overall, as a DJ, when I travel, it's just different environments, different cultures, but there's a lot of similarities as well. Like every country has their own venues. Every country has places where they throw events. You know, it's not like rocket science. Throwing an event, you put entertainment there and you try to get people to come and see it. It's not really that intricate, and it's the same everywhere in the world. There's small details that are different. Like every country, you kind of got to understand the laws. You have to understand, you know, like what visas you need. But it's pretty simple, especially if you're just touring and doing short stops. Like for example, like I went to Italy and did a friend's wedding, and I booked gigs while I was there, and it was very simple. They just a lot of the things with the entertainment biz are under the table, barter. You know, it's not always all as cut and dry as working in a corporate office. You know, it's interesting. I enjoy that aspect.
What are some music components you find different from location to location?
Oh,
taking
okay. Yeah.
U.S. and Italy.
Mm-hmm. And everywhere. Yeah, it's like so. I've DJ'd in 35 states in the U.S. So when I look at it, okay, like my experience in New York, LA, Miami, Chicago are different than the middle of nowhere in Indiana or Cincinnati or Michigan or even down south. You know, every city has their own vibe, and there's a lot of interesting components. And me personally, I feel like growing up in Chicago is a very interesting city because I feel like people are kind of hard on artists. Like they're very like critical. Like it's like kind of one of those cities where as an entertainer, you're not easily crossing the barrier. Like people expect a lot. They expect you to be good. And sometimes they will heckle you. They'll be hard on you. You know, sometimes when I go to other cities, like even New York, when I felt like the first time I went to New York, I felt like I was welcomed with open arms. But I was a little bit more polished. You know, a lot of other cities, I felt the same way. I feel like Chicago is a city that really you have to prove yourself, and you have to constantly keep reinventing yourself. You know, every city has their unique vibe. Like when I went to Germany, they were really into a certain type of music, like techno club, like kind of like boom, 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 boom. You know, and here we're a little different. We like house music, but we not a huge techno scene, but there is, you know, it's a scene kind of for everything here. But yeah, every city has their own environment, and it's very interesting. And a lot of times you have no idea what you're getting into until you're there. You're like, wow, this is crazy, you know. And you know, it depends on what promoter. There's so many different factors, you know. But you just have to be open minded. Well, you don't have to do anything, but I think what works best for me is to be open minded. And the experience, the hours make me comfortable in pretty much any situation. So I'm like, I don't worry. I just show up, and
Let it be.
yeah, yeah, see? That's how you do it, Amy.
Music is very interesting, right? It brings people together at the same time. It has its own uniqueness.
Yeah, it does. It does. That's the one thing I love about music. It brings people together. It makes people feel all different type of emotions. You know, it depends on what you're listening to, but yeah, some songs make you cry. Some songs that make you dance, that make you just be introspective, you know? Right?
So people has the two parts, right? One is like emotional, one is logical, and we're talking about the emotional part. Where do you bring the logical part within music when you're doing DJing or when you see people are performing? Any interesting things you find?
Oh yeah, so the logical side is basically, you know, music is to me all math. It's like math and science. It's like there's a lot of numbers, you know, like you have beats per minute. It's a formula. You know, you can kind of figure out like what's a good tempo, what's a good key, like what key you think is going to make a person feel a certain way, like the way the instrument is played, the progressions, even just breaking down like the just the simple like vibrations of the music, like how it feels, how it operates, how it affects speakers. And that same thing translates to performers. Like performance, you can tell who is practiced, who is fine-tuned it. Because I see a lot of performers, no shade to you all out there, I see a lot of performers that you could tell they haven't practiced. You could tell they haven't done this in front of an, oh, this lady is crazy.
Oh no.
Like, what are you getting out your car gonna do? That's not good. See, that's not logic. You know what I'm saying? You can tell she hasn't been in a situation like this before.
Yeah.
I see it in performance. I see people performing over their own tracks where they haven't edited for a performance. Like for example, this is a big thing. They'll rap or sing over a song that has their vocals already, instead of using the instrumental or like lowering the vocals or thinking about the science behind it. And same with DJs. Some DJs play and their music clashes. They don't really know how to make it blend where it's seamless, you know, and where the crowd can kind of pick up on it and be like, oh, I see what you're doing. Like it sounds sonically pleasing, you know? So it is interesting. It is a lot of logic that goes into, but some people don't, just like the business aspect, they don't like dig in. They just kind of pick it up as a hobby, which is fine. But, you know, if you're gonna take it seriously, you should learn some things.
Yeah.
You know?
And music is a big part of arts,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it
And
is.
a lot of time people say arts is undefined. Anything could be an art.
Mm-hmm.
There was like, I remember, so coming from an education and public health backgrounds, with who is like very interested in behaviors.
Yeah.
So I remember there's this education class we're taking, and the whole class is like drawing stuff.
Okay.
The teacher was walking around and look at everything, and I was sitting there kind of like, the teacher walked by, I haven't started anything, but the teacher said, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, they loved
Arts
it
is
already.
undefined.
Yeah.
That was pretty much empty. There was
Mhm.
nothing.
Yeah.
But like you said, there is like practice and no practice for
Mhm.
DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is art, but what's considered practice and what's considered not practice based on your definitions?
So I mean, it's just like, yeah, like you said, I do agree with the fact that everything is art. Like if you're DJing, you're DJing. It doesn't matter if I think you're good or bad, or if I think you're artist. I can look at this art right here, and I'm like, that's basic.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, it's nothing that it's not. It doesn't appeal to me, but it's beautiful. Like someone wanted this to represent their building. Just like if a DJ represents, like, I'm going to represent this place today, or you represented your teacher at that moment. You know, it's just kind of understanding your audience
Uh-huh.
and trying to provoke an emotion out of them. That is kind of like, I think, the goal for most artists, and I think everybody is an artist. I think everybody has art in them, and they have the ability to make art. And when I say practice, I'm not like suggesting anybody do anything a certain type of way, but kind of figure out what you like and figure out how to put it out in a way that you're happy with first, and then test it out. Like if you're a painter, do your solo exhibit, see how it does, see how your stuff sells, see how people react to it. If you're a DJ, see how people react, see how people dance, and just keep on trying and get it to the point where you're happy first and foremost.
Uh-huh.
You know, you got to be happy with your art. If you're not, who is? I hear about musicians that don't like listening to their own music
Oh, really?
all the time. They hate listening to their music, and I'm like, why would anyone else listen to it? Why would anyone else want to listen to your music if you don't even like listening to it?
What is it's a very interesting aspect you were mentioning. Why will people perform something they don't really like it, but they're doing it? Because I was thinking this is a little bit different from working in a corporate job or any jobs.
Mhm.
And sometimes you are giving a task, you are doing your job, that's not what you like.
Yeah.
But on the other side, music are more expressive in the sense. So
Mhm.
how will that come into play? Or give me a
Yeah,
little
I
bit more
always think
detail.
that is so interesting, and that makes me feel like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like, I get maybe some things that you do, you have put out. You it might not be your favorite anymore. I get that, but I listen to myself a lot. I listen to the music I make. I listen to my mixes. Like any content I make, I'm like, I listen to it and I see what I enjoy watching. So I want to create things that I would enjoy, that being entertained by. So if you're not being entertained, you don't like listening to your own things, I mean, maybe you should revisit, you know?
Uh-huh.
Try something different. Maybe that's not the right thing for you, you know?
And when you were working in a company, we both have been working in companies before.
Oh, yeah.
And you
Corporate big shots over here. Yeah.
you know there are metrics to follow, there are rules to follow, there are metrics to follow.
Mhm.
But how about when it comes to music? How do you put a metrics on the music that was very abstract emotions
Yeah.
and spontaneous?
Well, the only true metric is overall music theory. So the music theory is like a thing. It's like people study the art of music, progressions, things that work. Like you can't just grab, I mean, like you have to be, there's a rhyme and reason to it. Like, how do you record a song? You know, like simple. How do you record it? You have to figure out, you have to have a microphone. You have to have a device to plug it into, like an audio interface. You have to have something, you know, you're not just releasing just air. It's a process, and understanding and learning the process is kind of a part of that metric. And then kind of understanding some sort of music theory that makes sense, where it's like sonically listenable, because you can make something that's like unlistenable. But there's also music that doesn't follow the metrics of music theory, but people still enjoy it. So it's like you don't have to follow the rules to a T, but you have to do it in a way that it's like something, like where it makes at least a little bit of sense,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I think that is so interesting. That's a very good question.
And also, like, there is a lot of, like, culture awareness bring in these days, and you can see that within any policies. You can see that within, so there is, like, in every different aspect, using in pronouns, using in this and that awareness, activities coming up.
I wonder if I can go through here. I'm gonna try it out.
And how do you include that in your music, or how do you incorporate that part?
That's a very interesting point that you just made. Like cultural aspects, being inspired culturally, being respectful of cultures, being understanding, because every culture has their own unique art. Like Chicago, for example, it has like a lot of different cultural aspects. Like me growing up, Chicago is one of the pioneers of electronic music in the world. Like the way music is being made now, in my opinion, Chicago was one of the, the first cities, first places that was making that type of sound. Like they had house music, and now I feel like that's a global thing, and I feel like people have, embraced it and kind of made it their own thing. Oh, I can't get through there. I'm trying to be sneaky and get around all this traffic. It's so awful right now. See, this is summertime Chicago for you. It takes you double the time it typically takes you to get anywhere.
Welcome to Chicago, everyone.
Welcome to Chicago. You're kind of seeing it in the background. I like this interview style. I mean, we could start doing it. Like have someone drive you around and you just talk to them. I like this. This is fun. This is a nice format.
This is really fun.
You like it? I figure you would be good at this. And yeah, you're doing a great job. But yeah, culture, like you said, all those different aspects, pronoun, society continuously changing. It's also kind of fits into all these other categories of music we were talking about. How I feel like, yes, you want to be aware, but also you don't necessarily, just because someone tells you you're supposed to do things a certain way, don't necessarily just listen to them blindly. Kind of figure out how you want to do things. How you want to, like, if someone says, like, I say, for example, I sample Irish song or whatever, any culture, and then somebody gives me feedback on it eventually. It's like, hey, I didn't like that you did that. Say they're like, you're not Irish. Why did you sample an Irish song? And you'd be like, okay, we can agree to disagree. Like I feel like I was inspired by it. I wanted to sample it. So I did. I wanted to do that style. Yeah. And, but you put yourself at risk of being critiqued consistently as an artist. That's just a part of the industry, And the other thing that's interesting too about like you said, culture and everything, it's just making sure that you're not doing anything illegal, like stealing and then being sued. You don't want to be sued, right? No one wants to be sued.
No one wants to be sued, for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it because I just want to check make sure everything sounds good.